All right. Hello, everybody. I got a special guest today, um, Mr. Ron Haggerty.
Hey,
Welcome.
how's it going, Chris?
It's going well. Yeah, Ron and I have been talking, on Facebook, and he had talked about the new AC/DC album, and I had mentioned I had had it too, and he knows that I'm really into AC/DC, and he and I think we actually I think we share the same favorite AC/DC album.
Yep.
Um,
Look at the switch. Can you see it in my view there?
yeah, and I pulled it out here too.
There you go.
Yeah, I got Flick of the Switch on vinyl.
Yeah.
It's my favorite AC/DC album, as I know it is yours.
Mm-hmm.
I
Yeah.
think, I mean, the songs are killer, but I think what I like about it the most is that you don't really hear these songs that often.
Right. Yeah.
But I mean, Bedlam in Belgium, Rising Power, Flick of the Switch, Nervous Shakedown, Landslide. I mean, it's Brain Shake. It's all
Top to bottom. Oh yeah. Definitely.
And I pulled out the other two AC/DC albums to show too that are my favorite. I love For Those About to Rock.
Yeah. Inject the Venom is my favorite on that one.
Yeah, such a great album. I got this from Miranda Holter, actually. She gave this to me as VC.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, and my other favorite AC/DC album. Oh, yeah.
Blow Up Your Video is my next favorite after Flick of the Switch.
Okay.
Two's Up is such a phenomenal song.
That's a great album.
Oh, yeah.
My third favorite is Fly on the Wall.
Fly on the Wall's good. Underrated, for sure.
Yeah, so I know, I obviously most people into AC/DC are going to go to Back in Black, which I can understand. I love Back in Black. I mean, I'm wearing the Back in Black shirt right now.
Right.
And, the Bon Scott era with, Highway to Hell and, Power Age and all that. I mean, it's killer stuff. But for whatever reason, I just kind of go to those three albums, Fly on the Wall, Flick of the Switch, and For Those About to Rock. I think they came out in succession, too.
Mm-hmm.
But, so we're here to talk about this. And I wanted to show those vinyl because I don't have it on vinyl. I mean, look at Ron's cooler than I am. I have it on CD.
Actually, I pulled the record off the table.
Oh, cool. It's colored?
Yeah. It's got the bolt on one side and it's got Angus on the other.
Sweet. Yeah, I was going to they had like a deluxe version of this that I think made some sounds or something like that. And I'm like, no, I don't need the deluxe version.
Yeah.
To tell you the truth, the reason I bought the CD was because I didn't know if I was going to like it or not. Because like you and I were talking, I wasn't a huge fan of Rock or Bust, and I also wasn't a huge fan of Black Ice. I mean, again, nothing against those albums. They're good, but, it was just sort of like AC/DC running on fumes.
Right, yeah.
So I'm kind of regretting that I didn't buy the vinyl of this because it is a really good album.
You can still, I've seen it. I saw my copy was from Walmart. I just seen it twice today.
Yeah.
So, what was I gonna say? Oh my gosh, oh yeah, about Black Ice, what I was talking about this morning, because I worked at Walmart electronics department when that was brand new. That was a Walmart exclusive, and it played in the electronics department for a full month. I probably heard it about 1,500 times in that month. Yeah. So I had time to grow with it and get sick of it all in the same setting.
Didn't they have different covers of that too, like different colors?
I think so, yeah. It was like 4 different colors or something.
Yeah. So anyway, so Ron and I decided we're going to get on here and see if anybody wants to watch us just talk about the new album Power Up, because we're both thrilled with it. So this is, I was doing my research here and I've got my notes because I'm not as smart as some people probably think I am with the glasses on. The glasses make me look kind of smart, but I do write notes because I can't remember stuff and I don't know everything. But
I'm not that well prepared.
Yeah, well, I have to be because my brain just does not remember this stuff. This Power Up is their 17th record.
Mm-hmm.
And of course, you've got Brian Johnson on vocals, Phil Rudd on drums, Cliff Williams on bass, and Angus Young on guitar. This is their first album since the death of Malcolm Young. And as I said, it followed the last 2 albums, Rock or Bust and Black Ice.
Did you mention Stevie Young?
Oh, did
Stevie Young, I believe he was their nephew, right? Was he the nephew of Angus or?
I think so. I don't know. I'm not too familiar with the Young family tree, but
Right.
so yeah, like I said, I bought it on CD because I didn't even I think I might have listened to like 30 seconds of a sample on Spotify or something like that.
Hmm.
And then I bought the CD and then I put it in and I'm like, holy crap, like the first song, Realize, it's got that sort of like chanting thing that they do.
Uh-huh.
It's just this great opener. It just sounds like classic AC/DC.
Right, like something right off of what was I thinking of for? They do that on a song from the Razor's Edge, don't they?
Yeah.
I can't think of it now. See how
I
my
can't.
brain.
But you know, and Ron and I were talking before before I clicked record, that this album really could have been pulled from the 80s. It almost sounds like songs that could have been on Flick of the Switch or
Hmm.
Wall. You know, it just has that vibe to it. I think the production is really good on this. They sound vibrant, they sound alive, they sound like they got their crap together and they wanted to prove something.
Hmm. I
And so,
think the new blood with Stevie Young, the fresh blood. He's the only one in the band not in his 70s. So,
right. Yeah, exactly.
yeah.
That's
And that's what I
crazy
was
to think, though.
expecting. Yeah, that's what I was expecting with, before I went into it. I went into it thinking, okay, it's gonna sound like guys in their 70s, but they really sounded refreshed, and I think it's the fresh blood that they've got in the band.
Yeah, and when you now that you say that, it's just kind of crazy to think that they're in their 70s. I mean,
Hmm.
you know, you and I grew up on this stuff, and you know, I'm in my 40s now, so obviously it makes sense that they're in their 70s, but it's just weird to think of them in their 70s. But this, and like you said, this does not sound like an album made by guys in their 70s.
No, no, that's for sure. I
Um,
think overall, like the overall feel of the album kind of feels like Flick of the Switch. It has the groove,
mhm,
and it's kind of, I don't want to say laid back in a way. It's got
mhm,
some great grooves that make you bob your head, and it's kind of laid back,
mhm.
kind of the way the Flick of the Switch was.
Yeah. And I think they lock into that. And that's another thing I want to say about Flick of the Switch. I think Flick of the Switch, they lock into that sound. It's like every song just sort of follows that pattern. I mean, I know AC/DC has, you know what you're going to hear when you hear an AC/DC album. But I think Flick of the Switch does a real good job of kind of carrying that vibe throughout. And I think this album does the same thing. I mean, do you have
Mhm.
any songs that, I mean, I'm new to this album. I've listened to it a few times now and I like it every time I listen to it. Do you have any songs that are popping out to you as like favorites of yours?
Um,
Not to put you on the
shot,
spot.
shot in the dark.
Yeah.
Um, the single that reminded me of, um, oh geez, I
So
can't
Shot in the
remember.
Dark was the single. I couldn't remember what the single was. So
Yeah, it's, well, on the hype sticker it says featuring the song "Shot in the Dark," which I
oh, okay. Okay.
probably the lead in single.
Single. Yeah, that
Um,
has a cool bluesy riff to it.
Definitely.
And
Uh,
I wrote down a line from it. It's in the chorus. It's a shot in the dark beats a walk in the park. And
hmm,
I thought that that's a great line.
yeah,
They have some good one-liners in this album too.
what I think that it really ends off strong. Uh, Demon Fire is a great song to start off the second side. Loud Reputation was probably my least favorite song on the whole album.
The
But
other song
then
I didn't like was Witch's Spell. I didn't really like that much.
oh, the song that ends off the first side, yeah.
Yeah.
Um,
And
but
I'm
No
going by
Man
the
Land.
CD, so I don't know which song is the end of side one, but
Oh, right, yeah.
obviously, well, it's 12 songs, so yeah, you're right. The end of Witch's Spell. So
Yeah. But the last four songs, they just ended off strong after
yeah.
Wild Reputation.
No, I agree with you. I mean, like I said, I love the opening song Realize. I think the one song that I really dig this song too, and I think they took a little chance with it. It's Through the Mists of Time. Like, first of all, the title doesn't sound like an AC/DC song. It sounds like
No, it doesn't.
on like you know, a Maiden album or you know, I don't know, Nevermore or something like that.
Right. Yeah. Some power
But
metal.
it sort of has I don't know, it's got a cool anthemic chorus and just yeah, it's a little different than a typical AC/DC song, and I think that's why I liked it so much. It was sort of like a breath of fresh air.
Hmm. Yeah.
Angus's riffs throughout this whole album. I mean, I love the guitar tone on it. He's just. I mean, you know, a lot of people talk about Iommi as like the god of riffs, and
The
he
riff master. Yeah.
the riff master, whatever his nickname is. Um, but you know, I think we got to put Angus in there as well.
Oh, definitely. Yeah, definitely.
So
He's been their rhythm machine since day one.
yeah, yeah, and I'm telling you what, I'm impressed by your wall of AC/DC behind you. I'm losing my train of thought because I keep looking at all those great albums.
That's the 12 albums. I'm missing TNT and then some of the stuff in between
Yeah,
Razor's Edge and this.
right. 74 Jailbreak, I think, is underrated.
Yeah.
Great album.
Yeah, that's a good sort of. I always looked at it as an EP, but there's 8 songs on it.
Yeah.
Oh no, there's 6 songs. Oh, it's 5. 5. Never mind. I was wrong. It is an EP.
Great album.
There's 5 songs. I've got the Albert version of it too.
Yeah, I need to get some more AC/DC. I just sort of concentrated on my 3 favorites, but so I got Fly on the Wall, I got Flick of the Switch, I got For Those About to Rock. Yeah, I'm thinking. I mean, I'm definitely gonna have to add Back in Black.
Oh, definitely, yeah. That's a must.
You know, probably I listened to the Brian Johnson era more than the Bon Scott era, but you know, I'm probably gonna have to add Power Age and you know.
Oh yeah, if you were gonna get a Bon Scott album, that's Power Ridge is the album that I would definitely recommend.
Yeah. I never know whether to say Power Age or Power Age, you know, but
I don't know.
I guess it doesn't really matter.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so I mean, back to this album though, you know, like I said, the riffs are amazing. I'm getting some bluesy vibes too. Like I'm looking at my notes here. The song "Kick You When You're Down" has a real cool bluesy riff.
Mm-hmm.
"No Man's Land" is like a slower bluesy sound to it. So I don't have to remember. I mean, I know obviously AC/DC has sort of a blues influence, but I think it's coming out in quite a bit of the songs on this album.
Yeah, because you didn't hear that a whole lot throughout pretty much the entire Brian Johnson era. It was more prevalent during the Bon Scott era.
Right.
Now they're kind of bringing it back a little bit. Even Stiff Upper Lip kind of comes to mind when I think of this album as well.
Right. Yeah, that has some blues stuff in it too.
Yeah, and that was a really good album, followed by 2 somewhat lackluster albums, and then.
I'm trying to see. I'm going to look in the CD here. Do you know who produced this, by the way, at all? Or I don't know. I'm trying to look and see who the producer is. Produced by Brendan O'Brien. Should I know that name?
Doesn't sound familiar to me.
I don't know. I mean, if anybody out there knows Brendan O'Brien, I'm sure he's produced other albums that we know. But
yeah.
He did a great job on this record. It is clear. It's punchy. You know, everything is balanced well. It doesn't have a tired feel to it. Like I said in the beginning of this, it's alive. It's definitely has a life of its own, and
right.
This can definitely stand against you know, the greats of the AC/DC catalog. And they have
for sure
records. What did I say? 17 of them.
Yep.
So
even Brian Johnson's vocals, like, you can't really tell that he's in the 70s outside of a couple incidents where his vocals are isolated outside of the music 1 or 2 times, but outside of that, you really can't tell that he's the age he's at.
I'll have to watch some live footage of him. I mean, obviously he can still sing in the studio, but I wonder if he can do it live.
Right. Yeah. Especially with his hearing, because they weren't sure whether he was going to come back or not.
Right, I heard that, and I mean, obviously, that's got to affect your singing as well.
Oh yeah.
But yeah, I mean, I've never seen. Have you ever seen them live?
No, no, never
I
have.
never have
I've
either.
watched live
No.
DVDs of them, but
Yeah,
never seen them.
yeah. Well, I'll have to see if I can find some stuff on YouTube to see if Brian can still do it live. I'm sure he can. I mean, obviously, there's going to be studio magic whenever you're recording.
Oh yeah.
But speaking of vocals, and I'm going to go off on a little tangent here. I'm a huge Maiden fan, and I know you are as well.
Oh yeah.
They have that new live album. I forget what it's called, but I was listening to samples of it, and I'm not going to buy it. Like, I love Bruce, but he can't sing anymore. I don't know if you've heard any samples from the live album at all.
I haven't heard, actually. To be honest with you, I feel kind of embarrassed because I didn't even know they had a new live album out.
Yeah, and it's again. I mean, what is this, like the 200th live album by Maiden? But
Yeah. It seems like they follow up every studio album with 2 live albums. Yeah.
yeah, and I was gonna buy it, and then I listened to samples. I'm like, I can't do it. Well, first of all, the set list is everything that I mean, it's like Run to the Hills again, and The Trooper again, and it's Iron Maiden, and all that stuff. And again, those are great songs, but it's like, how many live versions of those songs do we need?
Oh yeah.
Again, I guess what led me to this is we were talking about if Brian Johnson can carry the vocals. I feel sorry but Bruce, I don't think Bruce can do it live like he used to. But again, I mean, he's got to be close to 72.
Oh yeah, he must be, because he started with Samson in the 70s.
Right.
So
And I know he had throat cancer as well.
really, I didn't know that.
Yeah. So, I mean, again, I love Bruce, and, just the fact that he's out there still performing, and he's got so much energy. He looks, he looks young out there. He's like dancing around, running around the stage.
He still runs across the stage. I saw them in 2010 and then again a couple of years back, and
Yeah.
he's still doing it. Yeah.
I think if I was Steve Harris, because I know Steve Harris is the guy who kind of runs the machine. I think if I was Steve Harris, I would have said, yeah, we're not going to release this live album. For one reason is because Maiden doesn't need another live album. And secondly, I don't know if Bruce is needs people to hear him in that sort of way, because it kind of takes away from who he is. He's a legend, But yeah, so that was my little tangent. All right, I'm back. I'm going to open up the AC/DC door again. I'm back in. Okay. Yeah. So did you have any other thoughts on the album at all that you wanted to share?
Really, no. I mean, man, it really ends strong. Like one of my favorite albums of theirs is Blow Up Your Video.
Right.
And the last couple tracks on Blow Up Your Video, Two's Up, is one of my favorite AC/DC songs.
And that's an album I'm not that familiar with, but
it goes off into different areas. It's like the song Two's Up sounds very 80s. It's the least AC/DC sounding like song on that album. But it ends very strong. It's a strong album throughout, especially if you love 80s AC/DC. So, but there's a lot of memorable stuff on here. For me, Shot in the Dark and Money Shot are probably my 2 standout tracks for me.
Yeah, and you had mentioned the album ending strong. I'm looking at a note here that I wrote for the song Code Red, which is the last song.
Yeah.
And there's this little jerky guitar rhythm that is really cool. And then for lack of, I'm trying to describe this lick, it's like this roundabout lick that Angus is doing, and it's so cool. But I just feel like it's a real strong way to end the album. And I agree with you. I think it's like, that it's just like boom, 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 boom in your face, and then the album's over. And then you want to listen to it again. Like, I had it in my car playing, because I actually have a CD player in my car, and I know a lot of people don't anymore.
Yeah.
It went from Code Red back into Realize, and it was like, I wanted to keep listening because, like you said, it ended so strong, and it was such a great vibe that it just carried me back into track 1. And I'm like, all right, let's do this again. So You know, and I've been listening to some reviews on YouTube. I know people in the vinyl community have done reviews of this album, and I think they're all pretty much positive. So,
Yeah.
and I don't know. I think I was looking up information. I think this like hit #1 in many countries.
Really? Already?
Yeah, so it was. It's been a big seller for them, and I guess, you know, I think AC/DC is just one of those bands where every once in a while, it's like, yeah, we need some AC/DC in our life. They've been gone too long because
Oh,
let's
yeah.
see, Rock or Bust was 6 years ago.
Yeah, it seems like there's 5 or 6 years in between every album, just like Kiss, just like Metallica. It's there's 5, 6, 10 years in between albums. Yeah.
Yeah, well, you know,
Plus, I mean, in the last 6 years, you had the death of Malcolm, and you had Brian Johnson's, ear problems, and Axl
right.
Rose. So they had
So for
all
them to
that.
even, yeah, for them to even make another album is amazing.
Mhm. Yeah, they had. I
Th-
don't know if you can see, but I haven't seen many albums like this before. But if you open up where the disc comes out, there's a picture inside there. It's part of
oh,
the
cool.
inside of the. It looks like inner workings of an amplifier.
Oh, neat.
Really kind of neat. Yeah.
That's cool. Yeah, I'm gonna probably have to get the vinyl of this.
Inside there.
Yeah, I mean that's in the CD as well, but I'm trying to see if it's hard to see inside, but yeah, I'm gonna have to get it on vinyl, I think. Just like Deep Purple's new album, I got it on CD, but I'm gonna have to get it on vinyl, I think, as well.
Yeah. Yeah, I gotta get my hands on that eventually. My wife's a huge Deep Purple fan.
Oh, well, that shouldn't be. Yeah, so that's easy. It's like, honey, we need
That
to
was
go out and get the new
that was
Deep Purple.
sarcastic.
Yeah. Well, that's cool that your wife shares your music with you. That's
Oh
important.
yeah.
Well, not Deep Purple.
Not Deep Purple, you
Oh,
hear?
she doesn't like. Oh, so that was a joke. She doesn't like Deep
That,
Purple.
that was sarcastic. Yeah. I got the look.
And this is a joke, Ron, but that's grounds for divorce right there. If your wife doesn't like Deep Purple.
No, it's okay. She's an Overkill fan, so
Oh, there you go.
she's got an Overkill tattoo like me. So
See, that's what this video is going to end. This is what it is. It's like, okay, we're like, yeah, let's talk about AC/DC's new album, but what? We've already talked about Maiden. We've talked about Deep Purple. We've talked about a little bit of, we mentioned Overkill. So I think we should probably, our next video, just ramble about metal.
random stuff.
Yeah. I mean, I guess we could do a little bit of that now, but I mean, yeah, I mean, I'm interested to know now that, not to put your wife on the spot, what is it about Deep Purple that she doesn't like?
We've never been able to figure that out.
Oh, okay.
It's just one of those things. It's not
Just
really his
whatever it
voice.
is, yeah.
It's not really one thing or the other. It's just she just never got into him.
Right.
Yeah.
Never did.
Here in the background there.
Yeah. She does like the song "Smoke on the Water" though. So.
Yeah, no. And that's the one song that I'm like, you know. Yeah, so I'm looking at your vinyl in the back there. I'm trying to decide which one I'm going to get next.
Wall of AC.
I have it all on CD, but
well, Back in Black's the easiest to find.
yeah.
Go with Powerage for sure.
Yeah, what's on there again?
Rock and Roll
Rosie on
Damnation. Rosie's not on here now.
Oh, okay.
Sin City, Gone Shooting, Up to My Neck in You is a great song. Kicked in the Teeth, Give Me a
Yeah.
Bullet, Riff Raff. That's one of the big
Raff, yeah.
songs. Down Payment Blues, but Rock and Roll Damnation I think is the most popular song on here.
Yeah. It's just some great stuff.
Yeah.
I mean, like I said, I'm sorry, I cut you off. What were you going to say?
Oh no, I was just saying fantastic album.
Yeah, I mean, like I was saying before, it's been 6 years. I think every once in a while, especially after this whole COVID thing, it's almost like you just need a rock and roll album to bring you back. And, I think people have tried to categorize AC/DC and sort of figure out where they fit in the whole, musical landscape. I mean, of course, they started in the 70s, so, but they weren't prog, they weren't metal, they weren't you know, they were just hard rock.
Yeah, that's it. They just stripped it down, straight up blues rock.
Yeah, and even I'm thinking in the 80s, I mean, they really could have channeled the whole hair metal thing. They really could have, but they stuck to their guns.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, a little bit, you can hear it, a little of the 80s creeping in on a little bit of Fly on the Wall, and like I said, the song Two's Up
I'll have to
from
listen to that.
Blow Up Your Video. It's definitely got that 80s vibe to it, but other than that, yeah, they pretty much stick to their guns.
Yeah, and I think that's what they are. You know, it's like Motorhead. I
Hmm.
You
Absolutely.
know, you always knew what you were going to get with Motorhead, and you always know what you're going to get with AC/DC. You know, bands like Kiss, and again, okay, I'm veering off now. Now I'm talking about Kiss, but
That's okay.
Kiss was sort of all over the place,
Yeah.
especially in the 80s. I mean, you had, you know, an album like Creatures of the Night, which was heavy.
Hmm.
And
Yeah.
then, you know, you got Animalize and
Lick It Up.
Lick It Up, which were sort of in the same vein. But then, you know, you had Crazy Nights, Crazy Nights or whatever. Was that the name of that album, Crazy Nights?
Crazy Nights. Yeah, yeah.
And I love that album, but that is like a pop. It's got like a pop sheen to it. It's sort of
Hmm.
80s, you know, schlock rock almost. I like it,
Right.
but
Yeah.
and then they come back with Revenge, and Revenge was really heavy again. So I mean, Kiss was kind of always sort of all over the place, but then you know, a band like AC/DC, a band like Motorhead, you knew what you were going to get.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Um, and your band Overkill, you know what you're going to get.
Know what you're gonna get.
Yeah, you know, just in your face thrash.
Hmm.
Um, you know,
They
with
did have that period of groove metal in the 90s, heading into a little bit of the 2000s, but it still sounded like overkill. It might not have been fast like the 80s stuff, but it was still very much overkill.
right.
So,
Well, listen, let's wrap this video up because it's been about 20 minutes, and I have a feeling, you know, we could be here for hours talking about music, but I think we're definitely going to have to. I think next time, like I said, we're just going to have to just call this Metal Musings or something. Just talk about metal.
random stuff. Yeah.
But yeah, so bottom line, anybody who's still watching after 20 or so minutes, if you are into just straight up hard rock, get this record.
Yeah.
Get it on vinyl. Be like Ron, because don't be like Chris Prophy, because the CD is great, but you need it on vinyl. Look at that, colored vinyl. Every song is killer. Like we said, the riffs are great. Brian Johnson's vocals are strong. The songwriting is strong. It's a well-produced album. It's got life to it. You know, listening to this, I almost feel like AC/DC could keep recording, you know,
Yeah.
barring any, you know, God forbid, unforeseen things that could happen. But
Mhm.
I think they might even have another album in them. But again, if this is their last album, it's a great way to go.
Yeah. Well, as long as Angus keeps kicking, then the ACDC is gonna keep kicking. So
Yeah. All right. Well, let's wrap this up. And you know, like I said, anybody who's still watching, Ron and I will be back at some point, and we'll probably just talk about music in general. But
definitely, we might try to get a couple other guys on board. We'll see.
yeah, that'd be great. Well, I know, you know, we got to get Aaron Mutha Alamer on here.
Definitely.
That
Yeah.
guy is just, I mean, talk about a collection of
Hmm.
metal. I mean, he's got stuff in there. He bought a metal collection, I think, a couple months back or whatever, and he's got some really hard to find stuff.
Oh yeah.
And
Yeah.
he knows a whole heck of a lot about. I'm trying to think who else we could get on here. Yeah, well, Cloudy Milder, I think his name is Andy. He's another.
Andy.
Yeah, he's
Yeah.
another guy that could get on here with us and discuss metal. I think he does another, you know, live thing as well. But you know, Aaron would be good. I think Logan over at Swellheads is into the metal as well. So
Mhm. Yeah, he's into everything. He's kind of like you. He's a little bit of everything too. So.
yeah. Yeah, we could find some other dorks to join us, you know. Because you know what? I'm proud to say I'm a music dork. I'm a music geek.
Oh yeah, me too. Definitely.
And I don't care. I like I said in my video today, I'll climb the tallest mountain and I'll scream from the mountain. I'm a music geek. I really don't care, you know. It's what it is. So, all right, Ron. Well, thank you for joining me, and that was fun. And everybody else, I guess we will see you in the future. Adios.
See ya.